almost forgot that. So, all right. I think we are all set.
Okay. All right. So welcome everybody. I am so grateful to Leanne and Epic Yoga, and when I've come to Tennessee, I've done a couple of things with her and met a lot of her instructors and love the culture she's created. So I'm excited when she said, "Hey, Kenya," I just say yes. I probably shouldn't have told her that, but I say yes before she even finishes because I trust her too, and I appreciate what she's doing, and we're of the like mindset, right? Of the healing, growth. We may come at it different ways because we have different tools, and that's all, but it's all the same. So I love that. I love yoga. I do love it. I don't practice as much as I should, which I'm hoping to shift that, during this time to really set aside time and to do those things. But I'll tell you a little bit about how tonight's going to go. So in case you're wondering, I'm going to teach you a little bit here at the beginning, and some of it you probably have heard, but maybe you need to remember or remind yourself, especially with this much stress happening in the world and maybe in your house or your family, or just that level that we're all being bombarded with. So we're going to talk about that. And then I'm going to lead you into a meditation. And this is one that I created, and I'm going to feel the group and see which one, because I have several. And I'll wait and see which one makes sense for you guys. And it'll be a really great opportunity to release and let go of anything that doesn't serve you. So it's not just like, oh, this feels good. It really is working on you on an energetic level. And we'll talk more about that right before I do it. So if you've never done that type of journey, I'll explain it before. So the brain wants to know the answers. So we'll just cover those ahead of time. And then I'll open it up for any questions. But usually at that point, you're going to be like, settled down. So maybe I'll do a little questions before meditation. And then if there's anything you want to share after, you could. I encourage you to just settle in, be curious, relax, okay, into all of it. And we'll move forward with this. So the first thing, so one of the things my big thing that I work with, and I have tons of certificates. My thing is, you can't build a house with just a hammer. You have to have lots of tools. And I've gathered these tools throughout my life, throughout my challenging times, whatever's happening. I have found these things to help. So I learned how to do them so I can bring them. But really what I'm working with is the energetic body. So I am a shaman from the Peruvian tradition. That's why I noticed Justin had a picture right up where he's standing up on a mountain. It looked like the Andes. I'm like, I've been there. Like, I know where he is. And because I've been there, I hiked to Machu Picchu in 1998. But here's the thing, we're all energetic bodies. We have energy. And I know you guys all know this. It's the part of you, though, that will always be. That's your soul. And in your energetic body, things can infiltrate and get in there and come in and disrupt the energy, right? Unsettle you. And I know you guys all know this because after you do yoga, you feel so much better because you've been able to settle down and shift some of that stuff out. But here's how I look at it. And I was talking to a client today about this. So if I have my clear glass of water, and this is my energy field, it doesn't take much. Just a drop of oil in here changes the whole thing, right? It's just not drinkable at that point. It's toxic. And in our environment today, there's a lot of things that can sneak in and disrupt your energy. And you may not know it until you're so disrupted that you're at the fridge 40 times, or you're, drinking a bunch, or you're doing something that's normally not you, okay? You're just kind of out of balance. So with this, let's start with the mind. Our minds are wanting to know. It wants to have the answers, right? We all want to know, what can we do to protect ourselves because there's something scary? What can we do? So your mind is constantly searching for answers. It's searching. You're picking it up off Facebook. You're picking it up off the TV, your friends, somebody calls you, hey, I heard this. And what you don't realize is that can accumulate. It can, even the stuff that you don't believe, like you're like, okay, that doesn't affect me. You've just put it in there though. So it's just like this water. I can act like that oil, like even if I put olive oil in there, right? I can act like it's not there, but I'm still going to taste, it's still going to affect me. So be sure and protect your mind. I'm very careful about how much of the news I watch. I watch a briefing, and if it starts going off on, like we're down some rabbit hole that honestly I can't do anything about, I'll turn it off. Now, it's not that I don't want the information to protect me, but I don't need to know that, 14 people did this and then this happened. I don't need to know that. So protect your mind. That includes TV. Now, I was shocked when I went to Netflix and it said #1 movie last week was Outbreak. I'm like, why are people watching this? Like, do we want to just put kerosene on the fire? Then Pandemic was the other one. I'm like, okay. So I don't know if people were watching it thinking maybe there's a solution in there, but there's no way that helps. So those are the type of things. So really pay attention, be mindful with your mind, what you're putting in, what garbage in, garbage out, right? So be careful about what you're putting in there. If you have a friend who's going on and on and on and they're in a fear place, you can calm them down and switch them out. But protect your mind, because your mind is the one that will wake you up in the middle of the night where you're worrying at 2 a.m. And that's not going to help you, especially because it looks like we're in this for the long haul the next 30 days. So 30 days is a long time, and there's going to be a lot of people who have their stuff come up. So be mindful, put in good stuff. The next thing is, and that includes like music, listen to stuff that makes you happy. You can shift your energy really fast. If you've been to my Firewalks, you know that. I do a thing with the lemon. What you're thinking is going through your whole system. So if you're constantly worried, you are basically, one, you're praying for what you don't want, because you're going to create it. You're bringing it to you. And the other thing is, you're in the future. You don't need to go that far. You need to stay in the present. Tomorrow will take care of tomorrow. It's not that I don't plan. It's that I don't sit and worry about Friday, whatever's going to happen on Friday. I go, what am I doing right now? So always keep coming back to the now. It's going to help you tremendously when you do that. So when we are, so the TV, the mind, your thought patterns, those type of things, you can pattern interrupt, you can shift. You can go to YouTube, you can put on videos of people, inspirational videos, whatever you need to do to shift it, okay? Let it go. Then we have the body, which you guys are all yoga people, so you understand how that works. And you may need to mix it up. Do yoga in the morning and dance in the afternoon. Move the body, because energy sits and it gets stagnant and you feel heavy. And when your body starts talking to you, and your body never lies, by the way. So if your knee is hurting and you didn't twist your knee, your body is trying to tell you there's stuck energy. It's trying to say you've got to move because it's just accumulating in there. So go move, dance, do to the point, whatever you need. Switch it up, dance in the yard. Go stand outside with the tree and do your yoga outside with the tree. We all have these portable devices, so you can haul it out there and do yoga outside in your front yard. But you need to move the body. And then the next thing about that that's so important is your food. And right now it is so easy, I've been guilty of this, to go to the fridge and grab junk food to self-soothe. So now if I catch myself going for my daughter's Rice Krispie treats, I'll ask myself, what's going on with me? Because there's always something. It's not that I'm craving a Rice Krispie treat. It's that something's got me uncomfortable. Is it that I'm stuck in my house? What is it that I need to do? You can shift that too. You can put a note on the fridge that says, stop, what are you really feeling? Are you hungry? Are you really hungry? Or are you just in there rummaging around because the full feeling takes away the empty feeling, right? And the emptiness is, maybe you're lonely because you miss your friends or your family, and our whole lifestyle changed quickly. So you can put notes and ask yourself these things. So you can stop yourself. It's a pattern interrupt, so that you don't go and eat a bunch of stuff and come out of this 10 pounds heavier or not feeling great about you. All right, so, and then we go into the spirit part of it, which the meditations really do help. It doesn't have to be sit and go, Because if you have an active mind, this is why I do the guided meditations, is because it gives your mind something to follow. When we do the meditation, you'll see that I'm going to lead you, and your mind goes, oh, where are we going? I swear. And the mind goes, okay, let's go to the garden. So your mind is busy going to the garden, but your body and your soul are resetting, and your soul is, your soul is helping you clear off. It's kind of a way to trick the mind into being busy. It's like, you go do that, and we're going to clean up the system. Because if you just sit, you can get to the stillness, that's great. But there's a lot of times, if I have a lot of chaos going on, sitting in stillness, I sit there and go, the grocery list. Oh, wait, what is it I need to do? And I'm a practice meditator, and yet I still have those times where I'm unsettled. Okay, so quieting the mind by giving it something to do helps. That's why music helps, because your mind is like, it kind of puts you in a trance, and it helps you. So when I'm cleaning the house, because it's not super fun, I put music on, because I'm busy listening to the music. Meanwhile, my hands are dusting. So when we can keep the energy body, keep the oil out of the water, it's going to be better. And the biggest thing here is to keep your vibration high. When your vibration's high, and when you are taking care of all of those areas, you're not going to get ill. You're not going to get sick. That doesn't mean I'm going to go lick a doorknob. Okay. It means that I know that even if I accidentally somehow come in contact with that virus, it's not going to do anything, because it can't get in. There's no way for it to get in, because my vibration's so high that, and it's here, we don't match up. Okay, so make sure this is the time to get strong, right? We're in this, I'm as an athlete, so I look at it as I'm preparing this, we're in the game, and we're preparing, we're keeping ourselves strong, we're working out, we're doing what it takes without fear to just be ready. So that if you did come in contact, it's not going to bother you. It's not going to affect you. But if you eat, tons of sugar and, drink too much and don't get enough sleep and do all that type stuff, you are lowering everything. And you're not going to be as aware, and you're not going to pay attention. And then you're going to want to go to the grocery, and you're going to be in a whole track you don't want to be in. So this is the biggest thing, is to protect that energy field. Now, one of those ways that you can do that is to consciously check in with your field. So every one of you have a field. I don't even know if you raise your hand if you felt your energy field before. Leanne has. Valerie has. Okay, a few people. So the rest of you, would you like to know, you can feel your field and check it for holes. And it's true. If there's a hole, okay, things can get in. Other people's energy, other people's bad attitude, other people can influence you because your bubble's got a hole in it. So the way to find your field, the easiest way, is on the back of your hand, because it's super sensitive. The front side, this side of your hand, your palm, is tough because it's designed, right, so we can pick stuff up, not tear our skin. So we want to use the soft side, and you want to start against your body. And if you slowly move your hand out, real slow, you're going to feel, and it's going to be at a different place. It moves, by the way, your field goes in and out, okay? So you're going to feel a tingly, you'll feel something. It could be a temperature change, could be a tingly feeling, could be resistance. Like when I come up against mine, I kind of can bounce off of it like a bubble, like I'm in a balloon. You know that feeling? So when you find your field, and I encourage you to practice this, when you find your field, then what you do is you scan it. And you can scan it with your hands. You can go, okay. And when you start to feel that it pushes back, you can go through your whole field. And if there's a place where you're kind of like, okay, here it is. Oh, wait, what is that? That's a hole in your field. And if you drink too much, I'm just going to tell you, drink too much, you put toxins in your body, you don't get enough sleep, you don't eat enough green stuff, your field gets thin. And so things can affect you more. So so you have to heal it, right? And you can heal that, you heal it by eating well, sleeping, you know, green foods, those type things, cleaning up the toxicity. But you also, okay, so let's say I find a hole here, and it's real subtle difference. And you may see it in your mind's eye. You may just know, you know what, I don't see it, I don't feel it, but there seems like there's a hole here, okay? Just trust that. And what I do, so there's these from the top of your head down around you is like an oval, okay? Goes in an oval, it looks like an egg. Your whole body, your field. And it goes in and out based on how safe you feel, or if you're wanting to expand out, you're curious about somebody standing over there, that type of thing. It'll get wider and smaller. But when it's like rays of light, okay, filament, like small rays of light running down, okay, and it's circling around and it comes into each chakra. This is how it all ties in, okay? If you find a hole, you can, with your mind's eye, you take 2 of those strands with your fingers and you sew it up, okay? And this is like getting stitches. If you got cut open, you get stitches. So you stitch it together and you test it, okay? Now, it still has to heal and you still have to do the work. So if you've been putting toxins in your body, you have a hole, you seal it up, but you keep putting toxins in, guess what? That's not gonna hold. Okay, but it is very important because where those holes are energy leakages. So you may be tired, you may have energy vampires, people who suck your energy, you know, you may be just wiped out because you feel like you're giving too much. Well, it's because it's just draining out. Every time you build your energy up, you feel all good and strong, it just leaks. And it just leaks out and it exhausts you. And eventually, right, your chakras work slower and then you don't feel so good and it just goes, you know, it all goes horrible. Be like if you're driving around, you know, with your flat tire in your car, eventually that's going to go bad. So that is the way you can heal that up. But the way you keep it strong is by all those things I said earlier. And I know that's like, well, I already know all of that, but we all need to hear it again, including me. Because in times of stress, we all kind of revert back to, and we all may slip some, and that's okay. You just get back on the wagon, right? Like put the note on the fridge. Do you really need this? Are you really hungry? Like ask yourself questions. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? Yes, so I'm looking at what you guys have said. Pat, funny movies are the way to go. Things that make you laugh. There's a woman who had breast cancer who watched funny movies nonstop for 3 months and her breast cancer was gone. So laughter changes the vibration. I like that. The Birdcage is hilarious. I mean, they're all anything that makes you laugh out loud, right? So those are great ways to do that. All right, Leanne, do you have?
I was going to say, if you have a question, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah.
And you can ask it, or you can put it in the chat if that's more convenient.
Yeah. So I do teach classes on your whole energy field, on how to sense it, what is it, what color, how to know if, you know, somebody's harming you through it, things like that. But this is the basic. First is to find it. And it's amazing because we all live in it, right? And yet, you know, who would have thought? You can really feel it. And the more you do it, the easier it is to know, right? And it's a temperature change too, to know where it is. That's why when somebody comes and stands really close, we're like, you're in my space. But if we really like them, we're like, yeah, come stand in my space. And it's because our energy field literally goes in a circle and moves at all times, and then it can feel them. And it's feeling them. And you're reading them, and you're like deciding if you like them, and you're deciding, you know, what do they feel like? But if you're in that energy field of somebody who's in a bad mood or has dark energy or who's maybe not feeling real well, you'll walk away going, that's the empath part. You picked it up and walked off with it. And sometimes some of us who are, and almost every person has this, you'll walk away with the heaviness of, you know, you'll take their bag off their back. Here, you're in pain, I'll take your pain. So you got to get rid of it. You got to take, that's when you take, I call them shaman baths. You can take an Epsom salt, half a cup of Epsom salt, half a cup of baking soda, and I'll put it in some comments, but 10 drops of essential oils. and you soak for 20 minutes. And you can alleviate that. You're cleansing it, okay? And if you don't have a bathtub, you can make that mixture for the shower, and you can put it like in coconut oil or whatever. It gets kind of gooey and messy. I've done it. I did it in a big mason jar, and then I would just scoop it out and, like, you know, wash off with it, and then rinse off, and you're good. It's amazing what that will do if you feel tired, what the shaman bath will do for the next day. Usually you take it that night, you're really tired, then the next day you're great. All right, well, awesome. I don't see any questions, do you, Leanne?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'm just making sure the master control, that you have the master control shift there. Right?
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about our meditation. All right, in our meditation, I am hypnosis certified. So I'm going to take you, I like using hypnosis because it does help the subconscious release. You know, your subconscious is processing, it runs about 95 to 98% of everything you do. And that's kind of where the magic is releasing limiting beliefs, you know, letting those go, those type things. And you don't have to know what they are to let them go. That's the other part that's great. So when we do this journey, I'm going to take you guys. You're going to hear me begin to drum. That's a sonic resonance that's going to help you. And as we begin to take the journey, I'm going to take you guys down to, we're going to go, let's see. Raise your hand if you want to go to the beach. Your choice is the beach or the river. So if you want to go to the beach, raise your hand. Seven. Okay, if you want to go to the river, raise your hand. Of course, the iPhone people won't get to raise their hand. Oh, I think the beach won. I can't see the iPhone people. Oh, the beach.
Yeah, the beach won.
Beach. Okay, so we're going to the beach. Okay, great. We'll go to the beach. So I like the beach. So we'll go to the beach, and I'm going to guide you there. So we're going to have, you know, we're going to walk on a path, and we're going to go down some steps, and we're going to go to the ocean. Okay, and when we get to the ocean, and there's a lot in between, obviously, but when we get to the ocean, you're going to have the opportunity to release anything. So in the shamanic work that I do, your breath is very powerful. When you breathe out, you're releasing, you're letting go, okay? So we're going to have a balloon in our hand. Doesn't matter the color, and don't make it up right now, because allow whatever's going to happen, okay? And you're going to have a balloon in your hand, and I'll guide you to this, and you're going to blow into the balloon and release anything and everything that's keeping you, that's causing discomfort, that, you know, I always do it as whatever's not my highest and best. Anything that's not me, anything that's holding me back, those type things, right? Anything that's keeping you stuck, pain, stress, but I do it all. I just let it all go. So you're going to blow with your breath into that balloon, and the balloon's going to fill up with it. And then we're going to release the balloon and let it go. And then we'll reverse it and come back. But it's a really powerful way to cleanse your chakras, to clean up your energy field. You know, you don't even have to know what it is you're releasing. So you don't have to be like stress. You know, you don't have to use your brain at all. You just need to be open to letting go. And be open to whatever that looks like, feels like. You may have an image, you may not, doesn't matter. You know, it does not matter. You don't have to know where it came from. You just want to let it go, right? You just want to get it out. And what I like to do is, you know, I figure infinite spirit, who God, source of all being, whatever you want to call that, knows. And my higher self knows. So I can get me out of the way and just allow my breath to do that. And so just take the process, be curious, take the journey. Now, during our journey, there'll be times where you'll hear my voice real clear, and you'll be like, okay, she's saying go to the ocean. And then later, you may not hear me at all. Don't worry about that. What's happening is you're in it, and hypnosis works like this. You're conscious of me, you're not. You're conscious of me, you're not. That's all normal. Don't be like, oh God, where is she? I just, you know, no worries. You can't do this wrong. And all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. And since we've all driven a car, you've all been hypnotized, because driving down the road and you're like, I just missed my exit. You were totally hypnotized because driving's hypnotic. You know, watching TV is hypnosis. So just allow yourself to settle in, okay, and see what comes up for you, what, you know, your mind and everything are going to create pictures. It'll be pretty. It's a nice journey. All right, you guys all ready? All right, so get settled in. Settle in wherever you are. Get comfortable. We're going to start there. So you can sit, you can lie down. Allow your body. Sometimes when we first do that, you get a little restless. That's okay. Move your body around. Bodies like to move. All right. All right, so while you're doing that, we're just going to take a deep cleansing breath. So just take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And you're still getting settled in, that's okay. So if you need to readjust, now's a good time to do that. Good. Let's take another deep breath. We're just relaxing, allowing the mind to settle in and listen. I love taking journeys. I think we all do need to go to the beach. So let's go to the beach. I want you to start out in a meadow, in a green meadow. Maybe you've been there before, maybe you haven't. But find yourself standing in a meadow with the bluest sky you've ever seen above you. Maybe there's a gentle breeze. And above you, in that blue sky, is one wispy cloud, one little white cloud. And begin to follow it as it drifts across the sky, allowing your mind, your eyes to watch it drift. So gentle on the breeze. Good. Keep following that little cloud until it's just a little bitty spot in the sky. Good. And in front of you, you notice a path. So I want you to take that path. Maybe there's flowers or trees. Such a nice path. And as you're following it, you can hear in the distance the faint sound of the ocean. Keep following the path until you come to a set of stairs. And I want you to take the stairs, and we're going to count them as you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now you're to the sand. Feel free to take your shoes off. Let your feet feel the sand. Hearing the ocean waves as they lap the shore. And I want you to begin walking down the beach, feeling the sand beneath your feet, hearing the ocean. The sun is in your face and it feels so nice. emotion. You have everything you need. Just let go. Be sure and stretch if you need to. Good. Everybody's coming back. How's everybody doing? Good. Thumbs up. We're good. Okay. Oh, that's awesome. Justin says he felt like skipping back to the stairs. Yeah, that's nice. Does anyone else want to share? You don't have to. Oh, interesting. So Justin said the stairs were steeper climbing up for some reason. So Justin, you know, I mentioned at the beginning, we were going into the subconscious. So, you know, you really dropped in. That's showing you how, because when we get to the beach and I'm leading you into the releasing, you really dropped in there. And that's your visual, you know, like you really went deep. Good. Was anybody surprised by what they saw or felt? Okay, so Aline, how do you say her? How does she say her name? Aline? I don't want to murder your name. But she said they felt shorter going up. So this is how people, your subconscious orients to your life experience, right? So if they're steeper, for Justin, that was his experience. He needed to see that. For her, hers were shorter. Like she didn't have to work as hard. See, when it depends on how your subconscious orients. So she had lifted all the heavy off. So there's this ease now, right? There's this gentleness. It's easy. And for everybody, and we could do this journey 10 times. It'll be different every time. It just depends on where you are. It's like meditation, it's like yoga, it's like anything we do, because we're in a different place and we're releasing different stuff based on where we are. Oh, do you still have that, Nancy? Do you still have it? She said she has a pulsing right under her ribs and on the right side, and a sharp feeling in your right palm. Do you still have that?
Nancy, go ahead and unmute yourself.
The palm is still throbbing, little sharp pain right down here. I don't feel the rib once I set up underneath my rib. It was almost felt like a heartbeat under my rib.
What hand did you have the balloon in? Was it in the right hand?
I was holding them with both hands.
With both?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so, but you don't have the pain in your rib right now?
No.
Okay, that's good. So here's what happens. The body doesn't lie. So I do multiple ways to work with people on where energy is held in their body, and your body literally was talking to you. So whatever was in it, and I know, you know, it can store anywhere. So pain in your knee isn't always pain in the knee. It could be, you know, when I was 3, I felt abandoned. Okay, so whatever the pain is, it was talking to you because one, we're consciously going in and saying, I'm releasing what needs to leave. And it went, I do, right? And then there was an actual dislodging of the pain when it's probably been there a while, right? Could be a long time, could be lifetimes. And when it let go, think about the muscles that have also been tight around that. And that can be uncomfortable when it releases.
I know that for months, all yoga, all that balancing on the right side, I can't do it at all. I'm always falling. It feels something is off in my hip or something. So there's something on the right side for sure.
Well, it may have left. Let's be curious. Let's,
Cool.
let's be curious if it left, because we don't want to tie it in that it's going to stay there. So it talked and then it's gone, and you may have released through that right palm, so it went out that right on that right side, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so let it settle in, and let's see how it feels in yoga, and just be curious, okay? Because most of the stuff doesn't have any words.
Okay.
Does it matter the color of the balloon? No. The color is, again, you know, it's what you associate that color with, what meaning you assign to it, or if you assign a meaning, or if it's just today it's yellow, tomorrow it's red, you know, or do you look at color as, you know, for some people red is anger, for some people red is happy, for some people red's a clown nose. It just depends on you with that, you know, it really does. And I get that question a lot, and that's why, I don't know what I just did to my thing. Hold on, I was about to share my screen. All right, I get that question a lot, and it doesn't matter, it's what it means to you as far as color goes. Did anybody get a balloon? All right, let's see, hold on. So 2 of you had tears. Yeah, well, tears are cleansing, right? That's a releasing. Sometimes, honestly, it's a relief to like, oh, finally, I'm at a place where I can just let this go, right? I can release this, or, you know, and we're in a spot to do it. And before we got on here, I opened Sacred Space. And the drumming, I mean, all of this is on a very deep level. It's not just, oh, I'm going to take this little journey that I read in a book, where this is very intentional to shift energy. And so, you know, that's, your eyes are telling a story, right? It's a release. Crying is a release. It's a healthy release. They're holy tears, whether they're happy or sad, or you don't have any attachment to what it is. It's just body cleansing, the cleansing. That's beautiful though. Yeah. I had one person one time get a hot air balloon. That's why I said don't get attached. She was like, mine turned into a hot air balloon. And I'm like, great, that's what it is, right? Like, so the biggest thing when you take any of my journeys, and I have some on my Facebook page, is to stay curious and allow what's going to happen. Don't attach. Don't be like, oh, I want it to look like this. Okay, to allow it. Let's see, Catherine's saying something here. Oh, see, Catherine says her balloon was yellow and it got orange as it drifted. It was huge. And she's done this before with me. So she said, I've had other colors before. Yeah. And Amanda said she had goosebumps the whole time. Yeah, because we're in your field, we're in your energy field, shifting and letting go. You guys are awesome. You guys like dove in. And because I'm tracking each one of you as we go. And I was getting sucked into the hypnosis so much with you because you all dropped in so great, which would have been great if I'd just fallen over in the middle of it. Yeah. Yeah. I encourage you all to journal about it. Okay. Journal a little bit. Be curious. This can continue. Oh, good. Nancy says she feels really good right now and relaxed. Yeah, that's the whole point. And I have other ones too that will do similar. But I encourage you to journal and then be curious. You may dream. You may have different dreams. You might wake up in the morning and go, oh, I know why it was that color, or I know what that was, or I know what this was, right? Sometimes it takes a minute for us to have the realization of something, whatever has come up. Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for Lori? Anybody unsure about what their experience was?
Did everybody have an experience? Some sort of experience? Yeah, okay, good. Yeah. Okay.
Will you tell us the recipe you just said about the Epsom salt?
I will. A half a cup of Epsom salt and a half a cup of baking soda. Now you can use a full cup if you feel guided to. You could do a cup and a cup. Doesn't matter. They're just equal parts of Epsom salt, baking soda. And then I use 10 drops of essential oils. So pick out of an essential oil that you have. If you don't have any, that's okay right now. I turn it totally into a ceremony. I light a candle, usually. I don't have any candles right now, but I light a candle. I lay in the tub, and for 20 minutes, that's important, okay? Warm, hot, like not so hot you can't stay in it, but hot. I set a timer on my phone. I don't look at my phone. And I breathe in white light from the top, and I allow it to wash over me. And if there's anything that needs to leave from the day, it goes out my feet. So the water, you're not bathing, you're just soaking, and you literally are meditating. Then when you're done, that water has got lots of energy in it. So let the water out, rinse off, stand up in the shower, rinse off residue or whatever's there, and then go to bed. That's what I like to do, because I've taken it in the middle of the day. I had, I work with clients. So I had 3 that were really heavy stuff was brought to me. And about 3 o'clock one day, I was like, I gotta take a bath because I've taken on the pain. So I went and took a bath. Well, as soon as I got out, I couldn't even hold my eyes open. I had to go lay down for about 30 minutes. So just know it can do that, because it was resetting my system. And then I woke up just ready to go. But so I like to do them in the evening. But especially this time, I just tell all my clients know that if you're feeling heavy, like if you just feel tired, I don't know why I feel so tired, I go take one. I don't question it. I just go take it. And if that's every day, it's every day. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Yes, there's always more waiting for you, Michelle. So Michelle said, Catherine said it was really relaxing. Awesome. Michelle says, how can we continue the journey? I feel like there's more waiting for me. I have longer journeys of all different kinds. And it's a matter of, I'm going to put them, maybe Valerie can help me with this, but at some point they're going to go on Patreon, which is an easy way to download those type things. And I do releasing, I do past life regression, I do power animal, and they're longer, really long, because, we want to get in there. The releasing doesn't have to be that long. That's what I love about this, because we can just go in and release. But if there's more waiting, or what are you curious about, and what you want to bring into your life, we certainly can do those too. I have lots and lots.
We'll make sure that we give you some ways to connect with Lori,
Yeah.
and we'll put those in the Facebook group.
That's good. Yes. Lavender Epsom salt bath is great. Yes, do that. Yeah, this is about, when you're in it, this is about taking care of you. This is a self-care place. This is a really important part for your body. So when I get in, I go, oh, I'm taking good care of myself. That's important. My mind goes, we take good care of ourselves, right? And then it's in agreement. Everything you do counts. So it's okay to be like, I'm going to make a nice bath for myself and take good care of me. That's important. And then you just go take it. You tell everybody stay out for your 20 minutes and you just relax. And it's lovely. You can always say, my shaman said, so get out, click. You're welcome to use me in that way and be like, nope, this was my homework. Sorry. Out.
So Lori, I have a question. Is it more impactful to do these live or recorded?
Well, that's the challenge for me right now. It depends, because you don't have me coaching you. So, like your group, I don't have anything written down. I just go with, I listen to where I'm supposed to go next. When I record them, obviously they're recorded. The challenge with that, like past life regression, to me, I don't really like doing those recorded, because what if you go back and find out you're a Civil War soldier and you were killed and it was a tragic death, and you come out of it sad, and that can happen. because there are soul pieces we can, when we have tragedy in another lifetime of death, we can bring that in, that fear of that, or leave a piece of ourselves behind. So see, then I'm not there with you. So then I've like opened you up to the sadness. And then what are you going to do with that? Like, because it affects you. So you need the coach after that. We seal it up, we heal that lifetime. There's lifetimes where we've all misused our power. There's lifetimes where you were your most powerful. I can take you to see all those. I can take you to see where you didn't live up to your potential. We've had these lifetimes so that we will learn and go, ooh, next time I'm gonna live up to my potential. Wow, when I misused my power, I hurt a lot of people. Wow, when I was fully in my power, that was amazing, right? And we have those pieces sometimes. So the past life regression is really hard. So I like them in person. I do them with my individual clients. I had a woman who I took her on a hypnosis journey. She had a blood clot. And I said, will you just trust me? And so we went on a journey and I did a shamanic thing with her. And the next week she came to me and her blood clot was gone 2 months earlier, completely gone. And she was like, I don't know why it's gone. And I'm like, we did like the whole, and she released it in the hypnosis, like the journey we just did. She released it. I don't know how that works, but it worked. So a lot of my stuff, I just trust and go. And so that's how powerful they are. So if I have somebody as an individual, like, I want to work on this and release it, there's lots of ways we can release it without going right at it. We want to go around it to release it. I don't know if I answered your question. I don't think I did. So yes and no.
Yeah, you did.
It's probably more impactful live because you can ask questions. Of course, you could always listen to them recorded and then shoot me a question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm open to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. I like one-on-one live. I like 1-on-40 or whatever we end up with live too, though. So, yeah. I just would be careful with past life regression recordings. There's a bunch of them out there. I'd just be careful.
My cousin Kathy, who I told you about her book that she wrote about her son who had visions of being a pro baseball player. When he was young, he remembered a past life experience. And then she was called to write a book about it.
Yes. Yes. There was a child recently who went to 9/11, the memorial, and started telling his mom how he was a firefighter that he was there. And it gives me chills because he told her the whole story. And she's like, what? Of course, she didn't believe him right off. And then he was able to say what unit he was in and everything, and that what it felt like, this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And they looked it up and it was all real. So, we've all had multiple lifetimes. But for me, as a shaman, it was really powerful for me to go back and look at the life where I misused my power, and to go back and look at the one where I was in my power, and to go back and look at the one where I didn't do what I was supposed to do, what I had come to do, because it's affected me now. So those times when I hesitate, I go, no, I need to use my gifts. But then the times where I put down my sword, right? I don't overuse the power. There's a place, there's a place of that, right? So it helped me. But I have clients that come to me who will have something going on in this lifetime. And as soon as I journey for them, usually. I journey for them and I'll come back and say, you were hung as a slave. Whatever I see it like a movie. I see the whole thing. You were hung I had one person who was hung as a slave, was beaten brutally and left to die hanging as an African-American slave. And in this lifetime, he's always felt wrong in his body, wrong on what he did, can't find a job, doesn't know what his life purpose is. He said, every time I make a step, I think, this is wrong. And I said, well, you were killed in that lifetime and told it was wrong because you were Black. So when we healed that, he has like a career now and like all this stuff. But he had brought that in of, I'm afraid to be me because you're going to kill me if I'm me. See? So for no reason, right? I mean, it's ridiculous what happened when the slaves would just be hung to be hung. So that's how powerful other lifetimes inform this lifetime. So yeah, I like to be there with the person for that part. But the other ones, relaxation, meditation. I've got one where you can go to the future and talk to your future self. And what is it you need to know? You've done that with me, Leanne. You know, what is it? So is Valerie. You know, what is it that what does my future self have to tell me now? And those are very powerful, and that can be recorded. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, for sure. So, Kathy, I'm just so curious about, were you accepting of your son right off? Or was that like what just happened?
Not really, not really. Like being a Christian, it wasn't really part of my belief system. So it took a while. Leanne was more open to it than I was.
Well, that's part of your soul family contract, right?
Yes, she was
Yeah.
here to guide the way.
Well,
She
what a
also
great-
was the one, she was the one that kicked my butt into writing the book because I said, oh, I'll do it like in a couple of years. And she's like, why don't you create the possibility of doing it right now?
It was a bizarre story. So here's the thing. I was flying out to LA for 36 hours for dinner with Mast and Kip. And so I went to this dinner with Mast and Kip. I met Kathy in LA. We went to the garment district to do some shopping. And then she said, oh, where are you going? I said, oh, I'm going to dinner in Hollywood Hills. And she said, with who? And I said, with Mast and Kip. By the time I got back to my hotel, she had Googled him and she's like, do you know that he has this thing where you can write a book in Bali for 30 days? I was like, you should do it. Because during the day we had the conversation, like she had the jacket of her book that she would carry around, like, this is the book I'm writing. I said, well, Kathy, and at the time she was in, I'm totally oversharing Kathy's life right now. She was in a really bad marriage. And there's a whole another book she has to write about how Christian was even born, but I won't go like down that, like it goes on and on and on. So anyways, so Kathy had this book cover and I said, so how much have you written? Because her whole thing was, as soon as I write the book, I can leave Michael, her husband. And I was like, okay, well, let's talk, because Michael called while we were in LA and it was a disaster of a conversation. She was flustered and everything else. And I said, how much of the book do you have written, Kathy? And she's like, oh, I haven't started. I was like, what the hell? Like, you've got to write the book if this is the whole thing. So Kathy wrote the book and
In Bali.
in Bali.
So I
And-
get
and-
those advertisements, so now I know it works. Okay, so anyway, go
Right.
ahead.
So her husband wasn't going to watch their children so she could write the book, and her mom would watch the kids so she could write the book. So we were going to unenroll them from school in California, bring them to Brentwood so she could go.
For a month.
It was this crazy, crazy thing. Anyways, she wrote the book, and the
Thanks
book was
to Leanne.
the book was supposed to become a movie, and then the movie
Oh.
rights are tossed around a bit, so she's rewriting the script. And
And you'll be happy to know that because of quarantine, I finished the script too, like, which I would have never done if we didn't have quarantine. So that was a blessing.
Until Leanne got a hold of you, then you would have gotten it done.
Right, exactly. I would have never taken the time out.
Kathy,
I
I
was
read
in-
the book.
Oh,
I remember I didn't get to see you come and speak when you came to the studio and you brought your son and you read it, but I started reading a lot more books at the library, and I kid you not, I saw the book and I was like, oh my gosh, there it is. I'm gonna go get it. And so I got it, and it was amazing. It's very well written. It keeps you captured in. And I really appreciated the aspect that you shared about your own personal story and journey, and the wrestlings that you shared with your faith, because I come from a very traditional kind of biblical perspective, and I have shifted in some of my thoughts and things like that. And so when you just shared openly about the wrestling and the experiences that you had with what was going on with your faith, that was super helpful for me as like just a person, just to be like, oh, okay, so I'm not crazy here. This is all kind of an experiential, because I'm very much connected to the divine, and it was just very, very helpful. So I could go on and on about that. But yeah,
Thank you. And my ex-husband and I are good friends. He lives right down the street, and he's been going to Costco for us. So it has a happy ending. Probably some kind of,
Ending.
right? Happy ending.
I'm glad
Quarantining
you cleared that up for us after hearing
Yeah.
we're going to enroll the kids and drag them to Tennessee.
Yeah, we have a crazy family.
Yes, she
No,
is.
Leanne, nobody, when somebody has a goal, Leanne's going to build bridges and knock down walls and grab you by
That's
the
true.
hair and drag you to the top. I mean, and I like that about her. That's what she's going to do. I was just making mental notes. Be careful what I tell Leanne. Like, I better be ready to put rocket fuel in the dream, because she's not going to say no. So yeah, that's awesome though, Kathy. I'm glad you're on here. Yeah, I mean, I grew up Catholic, so everything I do is the devil's work according to that, and it's not. And I had to unlearn all that too, and realize that shamanism is 50,000 years old. It's before any religion, and it's just a way of being. It's a way of connecting and working with the divine and those type things without. It was way before religious structure came, So that's what I keep telling myself. And then the other thing is that when I get questioned and somebody says, what do you mean? How do you do, why is it you do this? Or how can you do this? Or someone challenged because I was doing the Firewalk in the last town I lived in, and I'm a witch according to them, and who gives me the right? And so she told me that, and I said, well, tell her Jesus said I could. And she said, what? And I said, well, Jesus said you'll do all these things and greater. And I'm like, so I'm just doing what Jesus said. Like, Jesus said that I can help people, so that's what I'm going to do. And I was like, that's where I got my permission from. And that's how I got my permission, truly, was because I'm like, well, wait a minute, so it must be okay. So, because it's not me doing the work anyway. I'm not doing the work. I'm very clear about that. Oh, let's see. Sorry, now I did that wrong. Oh, my thoughts on tarot? Well, here's the thing. When I can read, I use a lot of different modalities to read. Okay, so it's kind of like, again, lots of different tools. When I'm working with a client, I hear things because they gave me permission to read them. And I hear and see and all those type things. Some clients need a lot of validation. They need to know that it's not me making stuff up and it's the divine. Now, I personally don't read tarot cards, but I do have like angel cards and different things like that. And the way that I do them is, what is it you want me to know for today, God? I'm having, what is it? And it to me.
Okay, so you're not opposed to them.
No, not at all. But I believe,
okay, cool.
Not at all. Here's the thing. No, I mean, I have a karma set deck that I just got that blows my mind. It's weird. Whoever, I don't even know where it came from, but it gives you like whatever your issue is, it tells you what you need to go work on, and you lay it all out. I've just started playing with it, but I use the cards. I do a spread now with people because I do what's called destiny retrieval.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of using cards, I use rocks.
Okay.
So, some people use bones, right? You've heard of those type people. You've heard of the people who use shells. The African shaman I worked with once used shells in a basket. He had me blow into him and he dropped them and he read. Well, I do that with stones. I can throw stones down, and the reason I can read it is I have what's called the map. So when they fall, the map has, you don't see, it's not written on the map, it's on my mesa cloth, but it has your past, your future, what are you transcending, those type things. And then with stones, because you blew in them, I ask you, what does a stone feel like? Feels like there's a lot of fear here, and we work through it. That's one way. But the cards too, I do a past, I do a what was in the past, what's your block, and what are we working towards? And I've played with that with some clients, and it means a lot to them, it means the world to them, because then they have a picture visual, right, of what their block is. So for instance, the past is spiritual, let's just say it's spiritual evolution, it would say that on there, and the block is letting go. So if I just look at a client and go, you know what, it's about letting go, people will go, some people would say, she's just making that up, like that's just vague. But when they draw the card, because I put my hand over and I'll say, where is it? When they draw the card and I go, it's letting go, they go, oh my God, right? Because they realize that it's not me influencing it. And then we look at the outcome. And then we work on, what do you need to let go? Then the life coaching of me comes in, the shaman comes in, and we bust through whatever that is to get to your future. So I use them. I just use them in a different way. I use them in my retreats in a totally different way. So but maybe we'll do one of those classes, because I do want to have a shift your story. Shift your story, change your story, change your life. I have a class on that. And I use the cards for that. So it's, you know, I don't have a problem with them. My issue is who's reading them. Because you really want to be with somebody who's super, super clear. I mean, my truck drives great, but if I let my daughter drive it, where's she going to drive it? Into the pole, right? So, you know, the person who's reading, if they're not clear, if they have another intention, if they misread the card, whatever, boy, they're putting a lot of themselves into that. Okay. So
Laura, that was,
if you go to somebody.
yeah. Can you explain a little bit more about that? Because I know you and I have talked about that before, but I think that there are unfortunately some people out there who have another agenda, or
there are people who call themselves shamans who are scary.
Mm-hmm.
They're dark. They don't look dark. They don't come across as dark. But yes, I will. So when you're in the healing arts, which I am, right? Healing profession, healers, those type people that are in that, even anyone who's seeing or looking at your energy field or your life, they have to have done their own work. And here's why. We all throw a shadow. We all have our stuff that's sitting with us that we carry everywhere we go. It's the way we view the world. It's the way we look at the world. So for instance, someone said, I got a red balloon. I could be like, that's anger. That's all about anger. That's my perception of it. Okay, clearly. But if I had said to them, what does the red mean to you? And somebody says, when I was little, I loved clowns. Well, maybe a red nose, right? So this is a joy place. So you have to watch who's doing it. When I went through my entire life, I've been in all kinds of trainings. I've been doing my own work to keep my windshield clean, because here's what happens. So someone comes into my office or on Zoom and they're working with me, and I look at them. I'm looking through my stuff to them. And if I'm not aware that I have an abandonment issue, or I have an issue with whatever, you name it, right? Whatever it is, fat people, or whatever my prejudice is, or whatever my wounds are, my own wounds from my childhood. If I'm looking at my client, you will see yourself. If you're not aware, oh, that's mine, that's that abandonment issue. I know you, because I've done my work around it. So not only is it clearer, but I'm not going to project my abandonment onto somebody else. So the people who are working with you are I have called out, I go to healers occasionally, and I'll go and I'm like, that is their shit. They are because they're like, you act like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, nope, no, I don't. Because guess what? I know myself so well. I've made friends with the parts of me that aren't so pretty. I know what's in the closet. I know what created what and how I adapted to that. And then I had to go in and dismantle all that shit. You know, I know those things. Now I'm still a work in progress, but I don't project my stuff. What makes me different? I had somebody ask me this on an interview one time, and I was like, I get out of the way. I get me out of the way. While I want the highest and best for you, I don't have an attachment to what that looks like. ever, even my close friends. Now, I have one close friend, Catherine, she's on here, she knows. There are times we talk all the time. So she'll say, well, how do you feel about this? And I go, I'm too close to that. Because I want, I know way too much, and I want for her to get her wants. But that might not be her highest and best. So a lot of times I pull the cards out. I'm like, I got to get me way out of the way. Because I can't, when I read her future, of course I want her to have love and happiness forever. Or, woo, like the kingdom, but because I want that, it's in the way. So it's harder for me to see that. So I'm real clear about like, nope, can't work with that. I want too much for you. So, but there are healers and there are shamans, because everybody seems to think if they take a weekend or a week course, they're a shaman, and they're not. Shaman is a way of life. It's a way of working with energy, and not all shamans can go to the underworld, and not all shamans know the map. There's a map. So I worked with a girl last year. She was in one of my groups, and she's like, I was doing death rites. So I do death rites. I help people die. And I can help your loved ones who've already died to heal. So if they had unrest or died tragically, sometimes they get stuck in this world, and sometimes they don't go to their highest place in the afterlife. So I work with them and I help them. I'm giving death rites, but I call them in. I go get them. I go get those people, the energy of them, and bring them back. So she tells me, oh, I know he's in the underworld. I've seen him. I know that he's in the underworld. I said, we don't know that. Let me go get him. So sure enough, he wasn't in the underworld. I said, where are you going? But see, like, she is literally getting paid to help people. And where he was, and I had to go get him, is in New York City in the slums. He was stuck, trapped as a ghost. And I said, well, when I got there, I could see where you might think it's the underworld because it was pretty scary. But that's the middle world. And if you're only very few people are given the underworld map. And so you got to be careful, because if they read something or they think they can, and they can mess you up. They can mess you up. I mean, I had a shaman friend who messed me up. We were in training and we use crystals we have one crystal that's designed to suck out energy or remove an entity if you have a spirit stuck. So I'm rooming with her and she goes, lay down, I want to play with your chakras. And I'm like, sounds like come online, doesn't it? But she's like, lay down. I want to try something. I want to play. I'm like, okay, what are you going to do? She's like, watch this. So she uses the crystal in my first chakra, and then she goes to my second chakra and uses it. So guess what happened? She took everything from my first chakra and dumped it in my second, and she mixed me up. So I go to class the next day, and there's a bunch of us, and I'm sitting there, and I'm not right. I don't feel right. I feel out of it. And the teacher says, what is going on with you? And my friend, who's a redheaded, really loud, super ball of fun, goes, I did a whole new thing on her, and told her what she did. And she goes, take her outside right now and fix it. You fucked her up. Look at her. She's not even right. And I'm like, what? And we were all like, what? She goes, don't play. This is not like, you really messed her up. And I'm like, oh my God. So, of course I learned things the hard way. So I felt that one terrible. And then I had a guy come to me who had done ayahuasca in the jungle, and the shaman put black magic in the ayahuasca. And they can do that with intention. Everything's about intention. So whatever the shaman's intention was, it wasn't good. And the guy was not okay. And so when he got back here, I worked with him. But that told me right then, because I hadn't had my own ayahuasca journey, to be very careful who you journey with. Be very careful who works on you. Be very mindful. If you go get a massage, that person's touching you, they're putting energy in you, all of that. It's just, you got to protect your energy field. I'm really particular about who works with me now. There isn't any of, let's play with your chakras. We're not doing that anymore. No playing with chakras. I mean, I let my students, if I'm teaching somebody, mess around, but I'm very careful about what we do. So, I don't know if I answered that, but just be mindful, because your reader may be reading you. And then reading themselves. And then here's the other thing. You have 4 layers of energy. Your outside layer is really easy to read. Okay, you have a blueprint. It's your luminous energy field is the blueprint for your life. Every life you've ever had, your entire you is in it. And most readers can read the first one. And so they're just telling you kind of surface stuff. They're not getting into like the soul level. They're just telling you like, oh, I see that you're happy, and I see that, happiness can be fleeting. So be mindful. That's my lecture on that.
My disclaimer is going to be to anyone. There's several of you who have done teacher training with me. When we were playing with chakras, it was all safe and totally in integrity.
Yes. And you know what? Yeah. So you have to play to teach, right? Like, that's why I let my friend do that. Yes. And so there's things you're going to do. I had to go through that to learn that you can really mess them up. Right. And we did a thing where we psychically attacked each other. That's tough, to harm somebody, psychically harm. And we did it so that we would all learn when that was happening to us. So in teaching, kind of all things go out the window. But when you're like paying somebody and you're going to their office and you want to know, because the other thing is you got to clear the cards. You got to clear them because you're leaving an energetic imprint. And if those people didn't clear the office, clear the cards, and they're like, out smoking and drinking, that's not the person who you want to read you. You don't know who they're working with. That's the other thing. You may ask them, what guides do you work with? Because there's just as much power in the dark as there is in the light. It just has an ill intention. Okay.
She came to say hello, and that her podcast is now on Spotify.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I know I just gave you a whole ton of extra, and like there's a big rabbit hole there. But
That's,
it's a big one.
I think it's important for people to hear, and I wanted people to hear your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important. I think there's you start to feel some of this stuff, and there's a desire to dabble a bit.
Don't use a Ouija board ever. No
Right.
Ouija boards.
We had our grandmother used to have a Ouija board.
I used one in 8th grade. Don't use them.
No.
No, there's lots of ways. I teach a pendulum class on, I actually taught it not long ago, on how to read your pendulum, because here's the other thing. You could be doing sorcery with your pendulum if you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to ask. Like right now, if I had my pendulum and asked about Leanne, I don't have permission to read Leanne. She did not give me permission. So you've got to be mindful about where you traipse. Because you create sorcery, guess what happens? A karmic backlash, whether you know it or not. So it sucks. You get slapped. Right?
So good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lori, for coming in. And
Thanks for having me. I'm excited. I'm so happy to